Hey there, friends. Got some breaking news this morning for you. Nashville's Covenant School files a motion to stop the release of the shooter's manifesto. You'll remember that this Covenant School in Nashville is where this gender pretender had killed these 6 innocent people, 3 children, 3 adults. A court filing made by the Covenant School's legal team on Monday seeks to intervene on ongoing lawsuits that demand the public release of the shooter's writings. These lawsuits emerged as the Metro Nashville Police Department was in the process of reviewing the writings referred to as a manifesto to determine their potential for public disclosure. Now, Metro Police has been stonewalling this the whole time, so they were looking for another reason to not be able to release the truth to the general public. The school argues that the release of the information could, quote, pose security and safety risks to the school, its staff, and students. The motion further asserts that the requested records in the lawsuits may contain sensitive information owned by the school, such as facility schematics and confidential data of employees and students. Clearly, they've never heard of redaction, or they have a vested interest not to release this information. More on that in a second. The outcome of this case could hinder our ability to protect our interests and the privacy of our employees and students, states the motion. In response to the motion, Wally Dietz, Director of Law for Metro Nashville, gladly issued this statement expressing support, stating, "Metro supports the motion because we believe the church and the school have a right to be heard." Yeah, now the church and the school have a right to be heard. If the church and the school were asking you to release this, they wouldn't have the right to be heard, right? Dietz went on to say that due to the court order, Metro alone cannot release the documents at this time without violating the order. So they've got their reason to not release it. Now we've got somebody else on board, so it's not just us, it's somebody else. And actually, it's the, quote, victims in the case that are asking us not to release it. So we're doing this because we're really good people. No, that's not true. What does the police department have to gain? The police department is run by an appointed chief. The chief is appointed by the mayor. The mayor has a long-standing history of this fair weather progressive garbage of pushing whatever agenda the wackos on the far left want him to push. So the police department is going to push whatever agenda the mayor's office wants them to push. There was no legitimate threat to anybody regarding any of this. The alphabet lefties are the ones hurting and attacking themselves, their own little kind. The LGBTQXYZs are attacking their own people. In many cases, the trans community is attacking their very own community. If you look at statistics that I put in past videos, they are the ones responsible for their own domestic type violence because they're attacking their own partners. But what does the school have to gain? Nothing other than privacy. The cover-up of past abuse. You can bet that somewhere in this manifesto, they're already fighting this behind closed doors with the police department, trying to refute some of the stuff in there. Because I can guarantee you that this trans person called out some of the abuses that she saw at this school and at this church. And this church now and this school is fighting to keep this going to the public because what's it going to do? Paint them with a really nasty brush and expose the corruption that's happened there. They know that you can redact maps and schematics of the school. They know that you could very easily redact names out of there. So no privacy would be exposed at this point. But when you have a manifesto that's being worded a certain way, rather than redacting the entire page, it would point to somebody more than likely in a higher leadership role that was doing some of this abuse or allowing and covering up some of this abuse. This whole thing stinks to high hell because you have the police department and the school/church who are wishing this thing would stay buried and nobody ever see that. Let's remember, guys, that we have less than 0.5% of the population is this trans community. Is this church really worried about the trans community lashing out? Are they worried that less than 1% of the population will begin to attack the church because of what might come out in this? No, of course not. That's not it at all. It's a cover-up of something that took place. We'll never see this manifesto.
I'm sorry, I thought this was America.
He's so horrible.